is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
And this is Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet. I'm here in the studio with Lerone Landis, and we have a guest who's in the studio who will be with us later in the show. Right now, we have with us a real special guest, and it is Leslie Jordan. Leslie, are you there?
I am here.
Hey, Leslie.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. I love that your phone number says Grand Prairie.
Yeah, I don't know why it does.
Oh, that's interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, no, we're not. We're right in the middle of Dallas.
Yeah.
Well, I love Grand Prairie. I was invited one time to come. Someone said, "Do you want to go to the gay skating night in Grand Prairie?" I said, "Well, I'd rather get beat with a stick or get murdered." But they had a wonderful skating night.
Do you know, Lerone? Do you know if that's even still going on?
I don't.
I don't either.
Really?
I haven't heard about that in a while.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Well, the reason we have Leslie on, other than because we love when you come on our show, but one reason we have you on is you're going to be here at Cathedral of Hope on September 22nd, appearing for Legacy Counseling Center, which has been, I can't tell everybody how important you are to Legacy. You've just done so many fundraisers there. Hopefully no lightning will strike because he is appearing in church, Lerone.
Well, the last time I saw Leslie was actually at his special at the, what was the theater?
The Majestic.
The Majestic.
Yeah.
The last time you were here, yes. And so after seeing that show, I see what you mean, David.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've cleaned it up a little bit.
Oh, good.
Okay, good.
Not bad, not a lot of stuff, but I've had people come up to me and say, "You don't have to talk like that." And I said, "I don't know what makes me talk dirty. I'm just a show-off."
I guess.
I always go out there and I say, "I'm not going to talk dirty tonight," and then the third word out of my mouth.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But no, we love that about you, but maybe not so much at church.
No, we can't do it at church.
Right. Right.
I've been baptized 14 times.
It never stuck, huh?
No, it never took.
Oh, well, so all I can say is happy Rosh Hashanah,
Thank
tonight.
you.
Yeah. You have a new TV show coming up.
The Cool Kids.
Yeah.
I'm real excited about
Me
that.
too.
Tell us about it.
Well, they called me and they said, over at Fox, there's something really fun happening. It's the boys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And
Love
I said,
that show.
That's so cute. I'd love them to be my bosses. They're just cute boys. So three big old straight boys. So they wrote this show called The Cool Kids. And I went into audition for Sid, who was a 73-year-old straight Jewish man from Brooklyn. And I walked in the room. I said, "I'm going to put a different spin on this." And I got it. I think it's interesting. All four of us, it's myself, Vicki Lawrence, David Allen Greer, and Martin Mull.
Mm-hmm.
And it's four of us. We're in Tucson, Arizona, at this retirement village. And it's just like Golden Girls on crack. We just have no moral compass.
That is too funny.
Every week I'll look at the writers and I'll say, "That's ludicrous. That can't happen." But then we are having so much fun. Fox picked it up, and they also brought The Last Man Standing over from ABC. So we have this comedy night on Fridays, 8 o'clock, Last Man Standing. But we're 8:30, and it starts on September 28th. And I think this is it. I cannot imagine this not going just forever. We're just funny. I can't explain it. You have four really solid comedians like that.
You do.
And we're all four hams. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're doing this thing called the Paley Fest on Thursday night, which is where they put us up in front of a panel. Now, we've done this in Las Vegas. We've done this in New York. We do these panels. And by the way, they fly us private. We fly on jets. I mean,
nice.
It's a jet to come get us. I said, we're not even on the air yet. So they must have high hopes. But you put the four of us in front of an audience, and the opposite of talk is not listen. It's just wait. We just sit till we interrupt each other and talk. You can't shut us up. And, of course, you have such a history just of television with stories with Vicki Lawrence and, you know, the early Carol Burnett and this and that. And then David Greer jumps in with early, you know,
and Living Color.
And Martin Mull, who knew, went all the way back. Norman Lear discovered him. He wasn't even an actor, and put him on soap. You remember that, Amelia?
Right. Yeah.
So what a history of TV you have, and I don't know. It is so irreverent. I don't know.
And Martin Mull has played gay so many times. Are all of you gay in the show, or just you?
No, God, Lord, no.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, I don't think any of them are. Is Sid gay?
Sid is gay.
So you did.
So
you did put your own spin on it.
What you have is a aging gay man. You have an aging African American. You have an aging white, straight, sort of Republican hippie who is full of conspiracy theories. And then you have this aging woman who's kind of like an old banger broad, or whatever that movie was, where, you know, she ran with rock groups and stuff. And we're best friends. And it has nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? It's about aging. It's about friendship. And it's, you wait and see. We'll see. We're on episode 5, and they just get funnier and funnier and funnier. This week, my son's coming to visit, so I start wearing cowboy boots. I live in Falfurrias, Texas, which I've never heard. I don't know if they made that up.
No, this is town. Yeah.
On the show, I'm from Falfurrias, Texas, and my redneck Texas son is coming to visit me. He doesn't know I'm gay. Is he blind? I said, no, I'm not out in Falfurrias. I said, listen, you know, he's my son. He believes, you know, I taught him to grill. I taught him the frightening process of undressing a woman. I taught him that. I was married for 30 years. I was married for 30 years, and, you know, now I have this new life, and I don't know how to tell him. So we go in my room to, like, gay it down, and we take all my stuff and put it in the closet. And then, anyway, it's a wonderful episode.
So you've already mentioned the comparison to the Golden Girls, and I've read many comparisons to that. In some of the early reviews, the difference is, you know, there was an all-female cast. This is short of being an all-male cast. Was Vicki Lawrence's character originally in this, or did they change the character for her?
What it is 4 guys have played cards every single day at this retirement community, and one of them dies. He's our Big Lebowski. You know, he was the fun one. And in the pilot, we're wondering, will it be fun anymore? And I said, well, I don't know if it'll be fun or not, but we're going to keep that seat empty in his memory. And bam, Vicki Lawrence plops her behind down there, and we say, you can't sit there. She says, why? I said, because you can't. She says, what are you, the cool kids? I can sit anywhere I want. We go, you can't sit there, and we get this big fight. And finally she says, she looks at me. I said, why do you want to sit here so bad? She said, I don't, but you told me I couldn't, and now it's going to take a hearse. And so we cook up these schemes to try to get her to not sit at our table.
Gotcha.
And we think with this whole, like, Me Too thing will just be real inappropriate, and then she won't sit there. And they send me in first, and I have to be inappropriate. And I keep saying, but I'm gay. Shouldn't a straight guy go in there? They go, oh, no. Straight guy can't flirt with a woman. These days, if I so much as bump up against her ta-ta, I get 6 years in prison. And so, anyway.
Well, that's good. And had you ever met any of your co-stars before?
I met Vicki Lawrence in an airport in Puerto Vallarta one time. I did a movie called Ski Patrol with Martin Mull when we were both young. I had long hippie hair. We were young. Like George Lopez was in it. He was a teenager.
Oh, wow.
And I had never met David Alan Grier, but I was the biggest fan of that In Living Color when he would do that Miss Antoine Merriweather. They did the hands-on film, and I would, the gay community was just horrified, but I thought it was funny.
It was hilarious.
And I'm always saying to him, do Antoine Merriweather. He goes, no, I don't do that anymore. I said, please do Antoine Merriweather. But
I'm looking forward to it coming up. I just want to announce again, Leslie Jordan is going to be here in Dallas September 22nd at Cathedral of Hope at 8 p.m. If you buy VIP tickets, you can meet Leslie at 7 p.m. at a VIP reception. And I know it's going to be...
It's always fun.
It is always fun. You will just start laughing from the minute Leslie walks on stage. Leslie, with the reboot of Will and Grace, you were on 2 episodes. I mean, they brought back characters throughout the season. You're the only one who got 2 episodes.
Well, I got 2, and then I got this television series, and I got a really sweet email from Max Luchnick who said, oh, my gosh, we're so proud that you got that, but can you still come over here and play? So we went to Fox, and Fox was not going to let me because they paid me so much money to be in this other series. But finally we said, oh, come on. So they booked me. I start back on Will and Grace on my hiatus from this show. So I know I'm going to do at least 2 this season.
Oh, good.
But I think I got 2 because I won the Emmy. See how I got that in?
Oh, I forgot to mention that.
That's right, you did.
I forgot to introduce you as Emmy Award winner.
Yeah, they brought all those people, but none of them won an Emmy.
That is
I think
awesome.
some of them did. Maybe did. I can't remember.
You know, and are you going to bring your Emmy to Cathedral of Hope so that you can...
No, she's broken. I'm looking at him right now. She's got 2 chicken McNuggets stuck on her wing. It's a long story. She's been abused. Bless her heart. Her ball fell off. She's been through so much. I need another one. So maybe the school kids will rope me in another one.
I hope so. With Will and Grace was it kind of odd because the series ended with you flying out the window and probably not surviving, and then all of a sudden you're back.
Well, Max called and said, if you tell anybody this, I will deny it and hunt you down and kill you. But his idea was, they got rid of the finale finally. They just couldn't deal with all that. They just picked up where they left off.
They did.
Anything that happened in the finale, they just discounted. But before they made that decision, Max called me and he said, here's what I want, what is going to happen. Since Beverly Leslie died, you're going to return as his evil twin, Leslie.
Okay.
See, Jack got my money. In the finale, Jack got my money.
That's right.
So you're going to come back as the evil twin trying to get that money. But then the decision was made, which was the right decision, just to pick up where we left off. And I did episode 5 of the reboot. And by the time I got there, they were up and running. Same cast, exact same crew. It was just the oddest thing to 11 years later go back to work and you're right where you picked up, left off. And Megan Mullally gave me a really sweet compliment. She said, I never lost Karen. I've always, it wasn't hard at all to pick back up and be Karen. But she said tonight, with that banter back and forth with Beverly Leslie, I think Karen is back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that is sweet.
That is sweet.
That is sweet.
Now, is both the Cool Kids and Will and Grace filmed both in L.A.?
Uh-huh.
Okay. For some
one's
reason,
at Universal, and then my show is at 20th Century Fox.
Okay. For some reason, I thought Will and Grace was actually filmed in New York.
No, people think that because they give it that real feel, but no.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's shot right. It used to be shot over at Radford, where Seinfeld and Roseanne and all the shows shot a studio right over the hill. But now it's at the Universal lot, which is a little bit of a hassle. But I love to sit and stare out the window when the buses come around with the Universal City Tour. I run out and wave. And they're just thrilled. I don't know any actor on the planet that does that. I run out and wave and bow. They clap at every bus, and they come by every 15 minutes.
So you're in the middle of filming, and you just wait. I have to go wait with the bus.
Hang on 1 second. And I run out. I got to go run out to greet the kids on the bus.
Leslie, what can we do to keep you in here? Well, you could applaud for me more.
And another Emmy.
What else do you have coming up? Because I looked up online, and you have several things that are in pre-production this year.
Yeah, I have a series on Sky that we're in our second season. Sky is kind of like the HBO of Europe. And I just landed the part of, it just fell in my lap. It's about this English family. It's called Living the Dream. And you can't get it. I don't know where, but it's very popular on Sky over in Europe because we're into our second season. We shoot in Spain, and we make it look like Florida. It's like this. It's about a family that moves to Florida, an English family, to pursue the American dream. And I sell them a trailer park. I'm kind of a shopper. And then I realized they got to make money at this, or they're going to lose their green card. And so we all pitch in. It's really cute. Really cute. So I got that. Oh, I've always got something going on.
You do.
You do.
Always.
And do you still have your apartment next door to Tupac?
I do. Not next door. It's where he lives.
It's where he lived. Okay. That's right. So you're still there.
Tupac's old apartment. His ghost, that's why I'm such a rebel and a thug. He's right here. He's probably the one that put the chicken McNuggets on the wings. I don't know who did that.
So we only have a couple more minutes, but just a quickie preview. Any new and odd stories that you're going to be telling this time? Because I know every time I've seen your show, your live show, it's always different.
Well, this is the story that I'm going to be telling. When I was doing that show that you just mentioned, I had a show called Straight Outta Chattanooga about living in Tupac's apartment. Mm-hmm. And I did it all over the place. And I would come out with these, blue jeans hanging off my butt and all this bling and, my baseball cap on backwards. And I came out in Puerto Vallarta one night, and I didn't know it, but my pecker was hanging out. And I have a beautiful pecker. I have the Brad Pitt of peckers. But anyway, there's this whole story about how I decided, because the ticket sales had dropped off, and I kept thinking, well, how am I going to get the ticket sales up? It was White Party weekend in Puerto Vallarta, and there were a lot of gay men there, but I thought, how am I going to reach them? And I cooked up this scheme about going on those sites. I've never been on them, like those hookup sites, whatever they're called, Grindr and all that kind of. Anyway, you'll get a whole involved story about that.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing the details.
That involves the Kardashians.
Oh, wow.
Leslie and the Kardashians. I can't miss that. Okay, so if you want tickets are available at lesliejordandallas.com. And regular ticket is like $35. Special VIP tickets with Uber service and brunch and a whole lot more. Those are $1,000. But you can just get into the church to see Leslie for $35, and we'll be there front and center.
And September 28th.
22nd. Oh, 28th is your show, yes.
28th is my premiere.
Is the premiere of the show. 7:30 Central Time.
What's the Fox affiliate?
Channel 4. Yeah, so it'll be on Channel 4, 7:30 Central Time. 7:30 Central Time. Yeah, so
there you go.
We will be watching. Leslie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Leslie. Looking forward to seeing you again.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you there. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Hi, I'm Cleve Jones, and you're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 KNON FM.
And this is Lambda
I'm
Weekly.
Zelensky Brown.
Thing was set for continuous play. This is Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave. I'm completely flustered after talking to Leslie.
How can you not be?
Yeah, I'm Dave Taffet. I'm here with Lerone Landis, our guest, Amanda. How are you?
I am good.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It has. Thank you guys for having me back again.
We love that you're here. Amanda's with us because it is
Teen Pride season.
Teen Pride. Next weekend is Pride.
Yes.
Saturday is the festival in Rivershawn Park. It runs from 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. Teen Pride runs same time?
Same time.
Same festival?
Same festival. Teen Pride, as of last year, merged with Dallas Pride. So we are now in the park, have our own designated area still, like we've always had. But we're in cahoots with everybody else in the park at the festival.
And this is the 6th year?
This is the 6th year.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
6
awesome.
years.
Now, to get into Teen Pride, you need to be a teen up to age 19,
Yes.
through age 19.
Yes, 13 and 19 get in for free.
And they get into the whole festival for free?
With the correct wristband, yes.
How do they get a wristband?
By coming through and either, saying that I'm a teen, giving an ID if they have a school ID, state ID, and that's predominantly for the older teenagers, because, now teenagers kind of look like grown-ups.
Well, you can't tell if somebody's 19 or 20.
Yeah. So for those, they should have some sort of ID, whether it's a high school or college ID, if they're freshmen. Most schools have started here in the DISD in Dallas school districts. So, they can show their ID and get in and get a wristband, and then they have access to Adult Pride. Adults can get into Teen Pride if they are accompanied by a child. Absolutely.
So I couldn't bring my daughter in because she's too young.
How old is she?
She's 9.
No, she could still come. You just have to be with her.
I have to be with her, okay.
Yes.
Or you can go to Family Pride
Oh,
Zone,
yeah, I was
which
just about
is
to say.
for
Right, yeah,
up to
that's true.
age 13.
Yes, Family Pride Zone goes up to age 13, and that's on the opposite side, usually of where last year it was on the opposite side of where we are. And that's where the playground and all of that is in Rivershine. And then, of course, on the Teen Pride side, we still have the jump houses, we still have the stage and the entertainment and the vendors as well.
Every time I hear about this, every year, I'm happy for them. I'm excited for them to have this space to attend. But a little part of me gets jealous. I wish something like this was around when I was a teenager. And obviously, it's a long time ago and just different times.
Very long time ago.
But, so kids are coming out more earlier and earlier now.
Yes. It used maybe when we started this show 6 years ago, we were saying, 13 was the average age that a child identifies and comes out. Well, now, as you know, just through press and through media, you're seeing transgender kids identify as transgender,
At 5.
Yeah,
At 5,
absolutely. Very young. So it's very important that we continue to create safe spaces.
When you started Teen Pride 10 years ago, you had how many kids come?
When we started it 6 years ago, we had maybe 15 to 30 kids at most.
And last year?
And last year we had over 1,000.
Wow. So it has grown a little.
In 6 years, yeah.
Do you expect the same amount this year?
We're expecting double. I always
my
anticipate
God.
every year for whoever the kid is that came last year to bring an additional kid with them the next year.
That's awesome.
And so because the experience is so great and they're exposed to so many resources. And every year, of course, my team is growing, and we're constantly reaching out to more and more sponsors, more vendors, and more organizations in the community that work with young people as well. So our goal is to constantly keep building and growing and adding to make the event bigger.
Where are the kids coming from? Mainly Dallas-Fort Worth or all over?
All over. We've had kids as far as Austin.
Now, last year, one parent brought her gay son from Tyler because he had been bullied and he was just having a terrible time. The family was trying to raise the money or save the money to move to some place safer like Dallas. And but they brought, I can't remember his name, Matty. They brought Matty here to Dallas, and I think he got to actually ride in the parade. And
he did.
His comment at the end of the parade was, "I wish every day was Gay Pride," because everybody just loved him, and he got cheers as he was walking down the street.
Awesome!
Yeah.
How old was he at the time?
Oh, he's probably.
I think he was 14 at the time. And we still try to stay in contact, but we meet so many young people on that one day. And that's kind of our goal is this year is to try to connect and stay connected all the way through college, if possible, with those young people. Well, it's a great time for them to actually see other young people that they identify with. As you guys know, if you're openly out in high school, you've probably dated, it's only maybe 10 of you that's out. And if you dated 3 out of the 10, then there's very few slim pickings for you to choose to date, and you get to not even just dating, but just making friends.
Right.
And just being able to communicate and have that open dialogue because you share some of the same internal struggles, or you share some of the same issues in home life as well. So, yeah.
You know, even kids that don't come out in high school. I didn't come out really till college, but we had a group, and it was 4 or 5 of us who all came out in college, but we all hung out in high school.
In high school.
You know, the gay kids find each other.
Absolutely.
And develop friendships. You know, one of them I'm friendly with to this day. That's where you make your lifelong contacts, and not having that, you're losing something your whole life.
And some of the things that we're learning, you know, as we continue to grow, we're still building and learning as well from year to year. We're learning that with this new Generation X, as they call it, they really don't care. You got just as many straight kids that support their gay friends that will come out to Teen Pride and want to have a good time and want to see their friends have a good time and be in a safe space. I mean, so now it's hard for us to even gauge who's who, you know, which is a great thing. And that's our ultimate goal, is to create a space that feels like equality all the way around. It doesn't matter, you know, and the goal is just for us to all be in positivity, even if it's for that one day.
Talk to us a little bit about the parents. Obviously, there's more and more kids coming every year. You've more than doubled from the initial when this opened up, when it was created 6 years ago. Are there more and more parents that are also coming and being more supportive of their LGBT children?
Absolutely. We actually had calls this Pride season already, not even maybe, I think 2 days ago or yesterday, my partner got a phone call from a parent who said, my kid came out and we're going to bring him to the Pride and we want to support him. And it's his first Pride, and they were interested in buying, you know, pre-sale tickets, and they just wanted to make sure everything goes off without a hitch for their son to be able to, you know, go through his first Pride and to connect with young people, but also for them to come out and support. And for a lot of parents, they truly don't know. As you guys know, Pride for so many years has gotten a stigma for being just about a party or just about, you know, the have clothes and just all the negative things as it relates to Pride.
Yeah, because for years the news would find the one float,
exactly,
the one, with go-go dancers in bathing suits,
and that became culture. That was our community's culture for years. And so, you know, one of the things that we're doing with Teen Pride is breaking those stigmas by saying, no, it's actually about being prideful of who you are. It's about being able to be exposed to community organizations that create life-changing things for you, you know, and it's also about, you know, you can have the entertainment. A lot of the times, like, for instance, Kennedy Davenport is one of our entertainers. Most of these young people don't get a chance to see Kennedy perform other than on RuPaul's Drag Race, right? And because they can't get into the club, so there is no space for them to even get access or exposure to the art form of what our culture actually brings as well. And so Teen Pride is definitely a way for them to be able to do that.
It's more than that. This might be the first time they ever met she's somewhat of a celebrity, and she's local. You know, and good for her for doing that.
Oh yeah, she's great. Actually, today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Kennedy. Birthday. And so, yeah, she's been a great support since we started Teen Pride, believe it or not. She has jumped on board, and it has been one of those things that she has always said she was passionate about, because her story is one of those that is very touching as well. And she felt the same way. We connected on the same thing, which was, if we had something like this when we were teenagers, we probably would have went down a totally different path as it relates to, you know, what a lot of kids now are exposed to. So, and that's kind of like what our mission is. And we always say, if we just save one on that one day, if we just connect with one, then we've done our job.
Yeah, you're connecting with a whole lot more than one.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You know, there's this campaign, you know, you're talking about the parents have been getting better and better, you know. Well, I think, you know, what's the slogan? It gets better.
Right.
Well, you know, it sounds like it's getting better for our parents also.
Well, there are also more kids on the street than ever.
Yeah, that's true.
That's unfortunately true too, but I'd like to think that those are just, those are in a minority of most cases.
Yeah, I'd like to think that too, but
I don't know. But I don't know that.
Well, we're still a long way to go. Yeah. As you hear me say, there's still a very, very long way to go as it relates to the community, as it relates to, I mean, gay marriage is only,
it's almost 3 years old.
3 years old.
Almost, yeah.
So
no, it is 3.
It was 3 this summer.
It was 3 this summer.
Okay, so that's still very fresh, very new. So when you start to still talk about the educational component that is lacking in the community as a whole, it's still alive and well, and it's going to take some time. It's definitely going to take some time, but what we're hoping by creating this space with Teen Pride, it's going to open up a lot of those doors. It's going to open up those lines of communication, and it's going to kind of slowly knock down those statistics, which is what we hope to do on the day of. We do free HIV testing the day of. We have counseling available the day of, because your mental health is super important, and it's one of the things that we do not discuss enough in our community especially. And it's something that we feel like if we begin to talk about it with teenagers early, and for them to identify early what depression looks like, identify early what anxiety looks like for you, and how you cope and put in place positive coping mechanisms for you, then the faster you can be on the path of a healthy lifestyle. And my slogan I always say is, healthy is a lifestyle, it's not an emotion. And so, but a lot of times we associate healthy with the feeling.
Here's what I worry about with some of those kids. They might be there having a great time that day, like best time in their life, because they never saw so many other gay kids their age. And then they go back to school the next day and the bullying starts again.
Right.
I want to ask, what do you do about that? If we knew, we'd do it.
Well, some of the things that you do about that is we make sure the day of they get as much information as possible. We are a tornado of nothing but information the day of. Like I said, we have free counseling out there. Melinda Porter, she comes out and she offers free counseling that day. Not only does she offer it that day, but then she also extends additional hours if it's needed outside of that day. We have
Trevor Project number is a great number to call if you're, because you have such a big high just being with all these other gay kids. In your school, you might not have any other.
Children's Health jumped on board this year as one of our big sponsors this year. American Foundation for Suicide Prevention will be out there present this year for us. So we have,
and it's not just the kids who are going to commit suicide. It's just, it's such a letdown after such a fun day.
Right. To go back into reality. Right. And that's kind of what the goal is. And for some of the kids, as you guys know, school has started now, maybe almost a month for some kids. So the bullying has already started for some of those young people. And so the goal now is, if it has already occurred, what do you do? How do you see yourself in the next 7 months, 8 months of school? You can't live in torment. You will get to a point of breaking if you continue to feel like you're constantly being tormented and there is no way out. So we will continue to do more and more events as the year progresses. Our goal is to go over into Thanksgiving and, build more and more atmospheres like this for young people. For the first time this year, believe it or not, since we merged with Dallas Pride last year, we are throwing a parade after party at the Oakland Library. Normally after the parade is over, all the adults go into the bars and they have a good time, and the kids are still kind of just walking around aimlessly looking for something to do. So now they have something to do. They can go into the library. We will have a DJ and refreshments, and they will have their own little party going on in the library. So we are constantly trying to think of innovative ways to connect them and continue to connect them in a positive way.
Have you all, or do you have any contact with the schools? And if so, how receptive have they been?
We have reached out to almost every DISD school as far as GSAs, which is Gay Straight Alliance Clubs. And quite a few of the schools have them. Some are very easy to find online. Some are not so easy to find. So some of the things that we're doing is setting up appointments for Kennedy and myself to go and make appearances at the schools and speak to the GSAs and speak to the counselors and speak to the educators and,
Lerone, have you ever spoken to a GSA?
I did. I went and spoke to a GSA. Oh, God, I think my daughter Gabrielle wasn't even a year old. This is a while ago. And it was interesting because most of the kids who showed up the day I went and spoke were straight.
Yeah.
They were just like really well-intended allies.
Yeah.
And the person it was one of my good friends who was part of it, who invited me to speak. He says maybe 4 or 5 years after that, it disbanded because there's really no need for it. because I guess at his school, they engaged, not saying that everybody was 100% okay with it, but the students that were out, they weren't having any issues.
One of the kids at Booker T. Washington said to me, I asked why the school didn't have a GSA.
The whole school's
said,
a GSA?
We do have one. It's called Booker T. Washington.
Yeah, so some schools, I mean, that's a good thing to hear, but they're still very needed in other places.
Well, and I think the more visual transgender young people become, then the more of the need is going to be there. And it's so funny because our community is accepting of some things, and certain things is still difficult, even for us, to accept and understand. There's still a very confusing line of education that's missing, even in the gay community, as it relates to identity versus orientation. And we've been taught to believe that everything is black and white and there is no gray area, and girls wear pink and boys wear blue, and so it's still very difficult, even for acceptance on all levels for the transgender young people. And as you guys see, they are becoming more and more visual as we continue to move forward into the new years.
Yeah. Okay, Lerone is telling me time for a break. Our guest is Amanda Robinson. She is the creator of Real Life Connection, which is a group for LGBT and allied teens. She is putting on Teen Pride this year. When I say she's putting on, it's with the whole group of people. But Teen Pride is part of the Pride Festival that will be next Saturday. And I'm sure you and a whole large group will be watching the parade, or are you in the parade?
We are actually in the parade this year. We have a float for the very first time in the parade this year. And as you guys know, we always have the young people that walk with us in the parade. But this year we actually have Scotty P and Brett Megan from 93.3 on our float with us this year. And Erica Ann will be on the float with us this year.
Went to a different station to do that.
Hey, I mean, I'm just saying,
Don't hold that against her.
I know, don't hold it against me. I just, I'm just letting you know so people won't say, who is that on the Teen Pride float. But
next time when she goes over there, she'll have to say, "Lerone Landis and Dave
Taffet. I need you guys to, be a part of Gobble to You Wobble." And Chris, look, he's gonna give me the cold shoulder right now.
Why don't we take that break, Lerone? You're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 KNON FM. I'm Dave Taffet here with Lerone Landis, and Amanda Robinson from Teen Pride is our guest. We'll be back with more right after this.
I'm Jelensky Brown with Resource Center United Black Element, and I listen to Lambda Weekly radio program on 89.3 K9, the voice of the people. I am the people, so hear me speak.
And this is Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis. Our guest is Amanda Robinson, who runs Teen Pride.
I mean, it's been 6 years. Is my mic on? Is it on?
Oh. Lerone's telling me his microphone's on. Josh isn't here today.
That's right.
And
all right.
Listen to these pushy co-hosts. They want their microphones on.
All right. Now that we're back on air,
I have my headphones on, so I heard that I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, exactly. It's been 6 years now since the inception of Real Life Connection. But I wanted to know, prior to, your current lifestyle now, and we'll get into that. But prior to this, you were childless.
Yes.
So what prompted you to even start this group? Because I think a lot of times people who don't have any kids, that's the last thing they're thinking about is helping kids out when they become an adult. They get out in the scene. I'm free. I can do whatever I want.
Right. Well, my story is just to kind of refresh those who don't know it. I moved out at 17 years old. I connected with an older adult who was 30 years old, and I was pretty much kind of groomed into the relationship. Now, I didn't know what that was at the time. I kind of definitely met every single statistic that there was as it relates to LGBT youth from the juvenile justice system. I was a 2-time convicted felon before I was 23 years old. And so I realized that my life was a reflection of what a lot of young people are going through or have gone through. And so I just felt like if I had that mentor, if I had that person I could call, if I had that resource that I could go to for an outlet, then I would have made, like as you hear me say now, I would have made a totally different career path. I probably would have been on a totally different, in a totally different space in life. And so I just felt like I needed something. And I began to try to research, is there anything, and I realized there was nothing. And so, as they say, you create it. You create what you feel like would have helped you, what would have made your life totally different. And so, Team Pride, real life connection. If I would have had a real life connection in my life that was positive, and a mentor that was positive.
Okay, so she's just kind of glossing over what she's done. How many kids have you taken in?
Oh man, I can't even count.
Yeah,
I mean, at one point, my whole living room looked like a shelter. I didn't even have furniture. I had air mattresses. So I've taken in, countless of young people. I've encountered, kids who have been dealing with trafficking or, was being trafficked, I guess is what you call it, or I've dealt with kids who were homeless. I've dealt with homelessness myself, as I was a couch surfer at one point as well. And so I can identify and I can relate. I feel like what kids don't have right now is the real. They get a chance to see a lot of reality TV. They see a lot of things on television. But what you see is the person after the success. You never really get to hear the struggle. You never really get to see them in the midst of the struggle and how they overcome from that. And so I try to be as transparent as I possibly can about my past, about previous mistakes. I never try to, promote perfection, because none of us are, but I also say that, when you know better, you do better, and you can be the change. And it costs nothing to help. That's my number one thing that I always say. It costs you nothing to offer some help and to offer a helping hand.
Offer some help. I'm just going to kind of get them on the right track a little bit. Okay, so you take a homeless kid. What are the ages of the kids that you've taken in?
Oh, they've been as young as 14, as old as 20.
Okay, so these are kids who, some of them have been trafficked, some of them are just homeless. And let's be clear, not because, oh, gee, my family just wasn't making enough money. It's because they came out and their parents threw them out of the house.
It's been a combination of parents putting them out. They ran away because it was an abusive situation that they were in at home. And so, for instance, using me as an example, I could be considered either or. I could be considered the runaway, or I could be considered the kid that was put out. I just knew that the living environment that I had at the time wasn't a healthy one, and I was looking for whatever I could to get out.
So you had to leave.
And so, right. And so,
I hate when that's called runaway. A runaway is a kid that, to me, that shouldn't have left. You're not a runaway. You're more of an escapee from a dangerous situation.
Right.
Every time I've heard the real story of why did this kid run away, it's not because, I just wanted to be free and independent. It's because they have been abused.
Exactly.
But any kid that runs away, they're leaving for a reason.
For a reason.
And I'm just saying, runaway, it's like it's blaming the kid for something they did.
Right.
No.
There's a reason why. And even if it's, as we had the conversation about, parenting now and how parenting is shifting and changing. For a lot of parents, it's, you don't want to listen to me. You don't want to do what I'm telling you to do. So it's my way or no way. And so to that judge or to that police officer, it's the child being, disgruntled. It's the child not wanting to fall into, discipline.
It's the court system that has over 70,000 kids who need a home, who are in the foster system at any one time, and they don't want to add another one, so it's better to put the kid back with these parents that should never have been parents before.
Right.
So now, jump ahead to that thing I said we'll talk about later. So you are in the midst of helping raising your child.
I am.
How has that been?
Oh, man, it is amazing. It's something that I've raised other kids, as you guys know. But this one is definitely one like no other because as you hear the older people say when they say the kid's been here before, she has definitely been here before. She has a personality of probably 3 people that I've encountered in life, and I mean has a heart already that's big as you could even imagine, and she's giving and she's helping, and she is content and comfortable already within her skin and who she is and who her parents are.
Right. And how has that changed you, or has it?
Oh yeah, it has definitely changed me a lot. It has made me mature in a lot of ways that I thought I was already mature. It has made me filter.
I know what you mean.
So, it has she definitely, when I'm around her, I have a conscious mind of what I am pouring in and what I'm giving and what's being received on the opposite end. And I truly see her as being a reflection of what I pour in and what I give. So, the minute she does something that is like, what were you doing or what were you thinking, I automatically look at self and say, what did I do to give her that?
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just thought of this, but I was looking at some old pictures the other day, and we always poke fun at David. Like, I think you told us one time one of your first jobs was babysitting at a daycare or something.
No, part of the Head Start program. The summer it started.
That's right.
Maybe it was the second summer
That's right.
it was in existence back in the 19th.
Right. And people are like, what? David was helping kids? Anyway, I came across an old photo of David, and he's holding Gabrielle. She's a baby. It is so sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, David is great with kids.
I am.
So I'm like, I need to
You
post
would never
that.
know it, but
You never know it, but he is. So.
I want to go back to Teen Pride for a minute. We were just talking about the parents whose necks I would like to strangle.
Yes.
I mean, it infuriates me. The kids that you take care of and take in, I would love you to start suing some of their parents for child support. Because why should you be responsible for raising their kid? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be doing this, but you also bear the expense of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that there are lots of community resources now that are starting to pick up and also take on the responsibility. We now in the city of Dallas have a homeless shelter that is geared specifically to LBGT youth.
And Cathedral of Hope just opened a second one. There's one house down at Promise House now,
right.
Cathedral of Hope one.
Right. So it's slowly picking up. It's slowly catching on, and
real slowly, because the homeless count showed this previous year 200 kids who were homeless.
Yes, yes.
So that's 200 too many.
And that's just 200 that are accounted for. That's still not considered
Of course not.
The couch surfers or the kids who aren't visible because they're still.
They caught some of the couch surfers somehow. But they also did this homeless count like at 7 places. So you have downtown, you have Oak Lawn, you have some place, Deep Ellum, Royal Lane. Why Royal Lane? And coming to the studio today, I make a U-turn under Central Expressway, and I counted 10 homeless people hanging out there.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't children, but I mean, but they counted homeless youth on Royal Lane, why not on Forest Lane? Because they can't cover the entire city. It's just not possible.
Right.
We're saying 200 homeless youth, and that's 200 too many, but they didn't get them all.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so here was the other half of my question. For all of those wonderful parents who all of a sudden they're faced with raising a gay kid, what do I do? Do I have to do something different? How safe is Teen Pride? I've never heard of Teen Pride. The parade that they always show this, nonsense going on, and, it's really mostly just normal people who are going to this parade.
Right.
The neighborhood comes out for it and has for years, and we always thought it was interesting, and turns out the reason that the neighborhood comes out and brings all their kids is because it's just fun.
Yeah.
But for any of the parents who want to know what can I do to prepare for this? How safe will my kid be? Anything I should do? Anybody that they can contact do you have an email address or something?
Yeah, they can definitely email us at info@rlc365.org.
Are you on Facebook?
Info,
RLC for Real Life Connection.
Real Life Connection. info@rlc365.org. We have a app this year, a phone app, a Dallas Teen Pride phone app, so they can download the phone app. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We have a website, which is www.rlc365.org. So we always have information on how to get in contact with us if they need additional resources for their children and they don't know how to find those resources. We are Real Life Connection, so our goal is to ultimately connect you with resources within the community.
And any parents who, I have this 13-year-old kid, I'm not just letting them go to Reverchon Park by themselves. We live up in Plano, whatever.
Right.
They're free to come. In fact, you're asking them to come.
I'm asking them
Please
to come.
come.
We have a ratio of 4 adults to 1 child.
Well, not with
wow.
And so that's
not with 2,000 kids expected.
Yeah, seriously, because the goal is if one kid could possibly have a support system, and that's what our ultimate goal is. We would love to see one child have a support system of 4 adults.
That's wonderful.
And so although you have to have a young person to get in, all it takes is 1, and 3 of you can come, 4 of you can come.
Yeah.
Just off of having one child with you, because you are the ally, you are the support system, and this kid sees it, as we say, it takes a village. So they have an army behind them saying, hey, you can't reach mom, you can't reach dad, then you got 2 more people on the backside of you that you can lean on as support.
And for the kids, when they first get there, in addition to the support, the adult support, when they see other LGBTQ teenagers like themselves, again, I know I didn't experience it, but just the first time I was around that many different gay people, that's encouraging.
It's very encouraging. The message, throughout the entire day is of love. Last year our theme was Love is
Uplifting,
Love.
yeah.
It's always uplifting. It's self-identification. It's self-respect. And so we're constantly pouring in all of those positive, healthy lifestyle things that you have to be able to do. I mean, and of course, like I said, we have the fun. We got a hula hoop competition this year.
Oh, cool.
We got to the beat of the music. We got the hacky sack competition this year. So,
And in their press release, they called it the Hulu hoop.
Hulu,
competition.
yeah.
The hula hoop. Oh, okay.
Hula hoop.
Got it.
Yeah. So we it's going to be a lot of fun. We have all the jump houses you can imagine. Of course, and think about it. If you're 13, if you're 17 or 18, when was the last time you were in a jump house?
Exactly.
That was big enough for you to be in.
Man, we're just about out of time. One other
Thank
thing
you,
that
guys.
I thought of was, parents who want to go. It's a great way for you to meet other parents who are in the same position. You might,
Right.
just like your kid feels alone in high school, you might feel alone.
Definitely.
And you can talk to each other and, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going through that too. Yeah, I want to
Definitely.
slap
Yeah.
them out of my
Great way to build
Definitely.
network.
And that's the goal. It's
So-
supposed to be for you to connect, for the parents to connect, for the young people to connect, and for the community to connect as well.
Yeah.
And festival is next Saturday from 11 to 7. On the main stage, Thea Austin is the guest performer, and there'll be performers all day. And parade is Sunday at 2 o'clock, so we'll be late getting there. But I'm going to try. You're going to be in the parade. Where are you in the parade?
Normally we're somewhere around the front.
Oh, you're in the front, so I
Yeah.
won't see you.
Okay.
But
So
I'll
you-
see you I'll see you in the festival. For all of us here at Lambda Weekly, who's our guest next week? Do you remember?
I'm
I
not
know.
sure. Yeah.
But we have one.
But thanks, Amanda. It was great seeing
Thank
you
you,
again.
guys.
I know
so
who it
much
is.
for having us.
Scott Puggensee, and we're talking about a murder.
Ooh.
It's an interesting story.
Okay.
See you next week. Have a good week. And for our Jewish listeners, happy Rosh Hashanah.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.